Hey guys, John with Scottsdale Living. Really excited to have a new friend of mine here today, Janell Panicko. I got that right, didn't I? Panicko. There we go. Janell Panicko, who is the owner of Jordan's Corner, which is a really cool concept, kind of not really known in the Arizona area, a little more kind of East Coast idea, right? But kind of tell us about it. I mean, kids 2 to 6, and it gives them a place to go play and hang out.
Yeah. So Jordan's Corner is probably, I would say, the first of its kind in Arizona.
Sure.
I didn't really find what I was looking for, so we built it.
Right.
It's for infants up to 6. And I just had 2 kids. There was nothing for them to do.
Mm-hmm.
I had a 6-month-old, and I had at the time, she was probably like 2.
Mm-hmm.
And she was going through a lot of therapy. So was he. And I kept telling my husband, I wish there was a place I could take them and they could work on these skills. Like the therapist tells me, do this next stretch, do this with her, buy her this toy. It helps encourage speech. And then I was like, I wish there was just a place like I could go and we could do these things, and I'm not doing it at my house. Like I just want to be out and with other moms and just a community. I'm pretty social.
Kind of feel.
Yeah. And I felt like in that time I was feeling super isolated. It was kind of like that COVID time. So maybe that's
everybody
why
was a little isolated,
I was feeling
right?
like really just alone.
Sure.
And then the wheels just started turning. I started saying like, oh, wouldn't it be neat though if there really was a place?
Yeah, totally.
And my husband's really whatever I want is like
I love that. That's cool.
like whatever makes you happy.
Right.
So I within like 5 days, I had an agent looking for the facilities.
Gosh.
It was quick. I'm very impulsive.
Right.
So I like within 5 days, I had an agent. I was like driving everywhere.
Sure.
And then it just like took off.
Yeah, totally.
And now we're here. It'll be 2 years in April.
That's fantastic.
And it's just crazy how quickly the vision grew.
Yeah.
Like what I originally thought it would be like is what it is, but it's so much more now.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what's your inspiration? Because I mean, you're starting from scratch, right? You have no idea where you're going or where you're headed or what you want to do. So where do you get inspiration from on that?
Oh, gosh. Honestly, I felt like, you mean like the idea or like the...
Yeah, because you guys are ever evolving, right? I mean, you're changing everything all the time.
I guess the inspiration initially came from like seeing my kids in the therapy, right? And they're working with some of these, some type of equipment. What it's like soft play or other things. And I'm like just watching them like, oh, it'd be neat. Let me buy this soft play for my house. I bought a little soft play, put it in the corner. I'm like, oh, it'd be nice if they had more space. Yeah. And then, you know, I was like, okay, let's do Jordan's Corner. Let's build this idea. Now, I guess too, you're probably wondering like the vision as far as like the concept and growing the different concepts.
Absolutely. Totally.
I would say like for a while it was very isolating. Like I had nothing to really compare much to. Like there was like
so no mentors, anything like that.
No. So that's one thing I feel like I didn't really find until maybe a year in when we were actually open.
Sure.
Because we worked really hard, opened it. It did really well because we opened in April and it was busy because it's hot, right? And then we hit a overnight decline in October, overnight. Like,
so what was that the reason?
The weather.
Oh, okay,
and, you know, and like, and then that was when I was like, oh my gosh, I need support. I need resources. Like what can I do to find resources or help or someone that I could relate to? And then I kind of like started Googling more. And then that's actually when I started to find other places like on the East Coast. And I was like, oh, there are people that are doing things like this. It's just on the East Coast, like Chicago. Maybe too, I kind of discovered a little through nursing. It was like off and on. I would find little things that seemed similar to me. Right. And then, but now I know there's like truly a community on the other side. And then now there's like, you know, things popping up here.
Yep.
So, I felt like those first few months I had no inspiration. But I mean, I know there are places. I guess I didn't realize they existed though.
Sure.
I was like, until after I was like doing it and someone's like, oh, have you heard of this place? And I'm like, oh, no clue. Had no idea. I guess I wasn't like doing enough Google searches, but maybe that's good because maybe if I knew that I wouldn't have done it. Right.
Right.
So
kind of differentiate between a traditional kind of like daycare, kindergarten versus what you guys do.
Okay. Well, you can't drop your kids off.
Yeah.
You have to stay with them. But I always tell people if they're really trying to compare it to something, they should consider it kind of like a mommy and me preschool.
Okay.
Because that's kind of what it looks like.
Right.
When you go in there, you're like, is this a daycare? Is this a preschool? Because it's structured or it's designed in that way.
Sure.
But then it also has like little elements of like maybe a therapy clinic because we have indoor swings. We have a lot of sensory tools. And then there's educators on staff.
Right.
So
which is really interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
So we always have between like 1 or 2, and then we have ones that are contracted. So our main one is Miss Sunshine. That's really her name.
Yeah, I love that.
People love to ask. It is Sunshine. And she's great.
Right.
She has a bachelor's degree in child development and has been a preschool educator for some of like the greatest schools over in Arizona.
Love that.
And she was just looking for something different. So she's been a preschool teacher from over 15 years before she came to Jordan.
So walk me through like her interaction. Is she doing little breakout sessions or what is she doing?
Yeah. So Miss Sunshine there's different options, right? Sure. So on Mondays, we have music and she does 3 different music classes with the kids and they always have a theme for the month.
Sure.
Tuesdays is cooking.
Oh, wow.
And they always have a theme. Yep. And it's based usually on the holiday or like if we're trying to like go for something.
Sure.
It could be anywhere from making fruit bowls. They make smoothies. They do treats once in a while. Like they might do like dipped pretzels in chocolate or something.
You gotta throw something in there. Like that,
So they do a lot of cool stuff. And that one's probably one of my favorite classes because she really focuses on like trying to make sure they understand the process. Like they come in, they all have to wash their hands.
Sure.
We all sit down and we talk about the ingredients and why they're important. And then we sit down, we have it. And it's like a cool snack opportunity too. Because the kids get to try new food.
Yeah.
So then she does that on Tuesdays. Wednesdays is kind of neat because she does music in the play space. I'm like, I feel like everything's my favorite. But that's also another favorite of mine because she does it in the play space and she like incorporates whatever we're like learning at the time. So like we've had Miss Phoenix come in.
Sure.
And she'll introduce Miss Phoenix and we'll do songs with Miss Phoenix. And then we'll talk about like, what does Miss Phoenix do?
Right.
Like she walks the runway, right?
Yeah.
So like, let's practice that. So we do different things like that. Like we have one of the local churches is going to be coming in at the end of the month and they're doing like the story of Easter. So she'll help with that. We just do different things,
So while that's going on, what are the moms doing or dads?
Yeah, they're hanging out with their kids. Yeah. They're either participating or they're talking to other moms. Sure. It's a very intimate space. So you don't have to if it's under 3,000 square feet.
Okay,
so like if you're on the couch, you can see your kid from across the room.
Totally. Right.
There's no hiding spots.
Sure.
So it just varies. Some are talking, some are actually participating in the class. Others are maybe like attending to another child. A lot of people come to our place if they have multiple kids.
Oh yeah.
Because it's
them a break,
easy.
Right? Yeah, totally.
It's easy. It's hard to go to the aquarium alone with 2 kids. I know.
Yeah.
I've like lost a kid there.
They're all over the place. Right?
Yeah. Well, and there's all these churns and, so this place is like designed in my mind too, like for moms with 2 kids.
Sure.
Because I had 2 kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, I know what it's like. My kids are 16 months apart. Like,
oh yeah, that's a handful.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Jordan was barely alive when Ash was born.
Yeah.
Like, so it was hard to go places.
Yeah.
So
I totally remember those times for sure. 100%.
I know.
So not only, you have this vision coming up with your 2 kids and what you want to build, but you went crazy like quick.
Yeah.
So you jumped from being a nurse, right?
Yeah.
Into a business owner. So what did that look like?
I'm still a nurse, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
So I still work sometimes as a nurse.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So but yeah, I would say I'm mainly the business owner though.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm more like off and on, part-time, full-time. It just depends what they need.
Yeah, absolutely. So had you been an entrepreneur before or a business owner before?
No.
Wow. Okay. So that's a lot, huh?
It is a lot.
Yeah.
Because I never thought I would be.
Sure.
But it's so funny actually. And my grandma, we always talk about this. We vacation in Carlsbad a lot. I'm from California. And we were talking about one time when we were in Carlsbad, for one of the summers, I had went, and I don't usually feed into this stuff, but
sure.
We went into this shop and some lady was like, "Can I just see her palm?"
Yeah.
And I was probably 8,
so
9.
It was predicted years ago.
And they were they looked at my palm. They said, "Wow, she's going to be a business owner. She's going to be super successful."
Wow.
And my grandma was like, "Isn't that crazy?" And I'm like, I usually don't feed into things like that, but it is kind of funny because I didn't really, this was never planned. I wasn't let me start a business. I want to get out of nursing. It wasn't.
So it's kind of a passion, right? It's a labor of love.
It is. It totally is. It just came out of the love for my kids and wanting more more for myself. I was like so lonely.
Yeah.
I did all those mom groups, but I still didn't build community.
Right.
And like building Jordan's Corner, I found my community.
Yeah,
like,
totally. I love
now I have people that I can go to.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and that's what we do at Scottsdale Living. So we build community. So I totally get that, and it's just got to be so much easier on the moms, because they're isolated, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this gives them a place to go and hang out and do all that kind of stuff.
And what's cool is like it's not let me book this 9 a.m. class. Like it's just Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, come when you can.
Right.
I mean, summer's a little hectic. So sometimes like there's a wait, but like any other time of the year, like you can come anytime. So if you're having a hard time getting out of the house and you make it there at 10:30, you make it there at 10:30.
Sure.
And so, I mean, I seriously could think of a handful of moms that have met like their best friends there.
Yeah.
I mean, yesterday I had like happy hour and all this stuff with my friends. Like I met them at Jordan's Corner.
Wow, that's great.
I mean, it's crazy. Like I actually have friends.
Yeah.
Mom friends that I can relate to. Totally. Where we're sitting around talking. I mean, we met up last week. We met up this week.
Sure.
I'm like, wow, it's really cool.
It is. That's fantastic.
That's probably one of the best parts is the community that we're building.
Sure. So look at it now. I mean, you're 2 years into it.
Right.
So if you look back from the day you started, what was the evolution? How did things progress? And how did you learn new things to incorporate?
So I feel like the evolution, I always talk about this. I feel like Jordan's Corner has been, and in a good way, like forced to evolve very quickly.
Sure.
Like, because
the doors are open. So here we go, right?
Yeah. Like we opened and the expectation has always been pretty high for us.
Sure.
And I feel like if you talk to people that visit us frequently, they forget that we've only been around for 2 years.
Yeah.
They all think that we've been around for like 5 or 6 years.
Sure.
They're like, I've been here maybe 3 years ago. I'm like, we weren't even open.
Yeah.
But we've had to evolve very quickly. And especially like being the first, like there really wasn't this concept here. And then like as we open, we inspire others. So I feel like we're forced to always be like 5 steps ahead.
Yeah, you got to be the leader of the pack, right?
Yeah. So we're the pioneers.
Sure.
That's truly how I feel about it. So I feel like the evolution is quick. Like, I mean, I'm quick though. Like my brain does not stop.
Yeah,
if it stops, I get a headache.
That's
like, my brain is constant. So I am like constantly looking for the next best thing or what can we be doing to like improve our concept and be like number one.
I love that. That's so cool.
That's what entrepreneurs want, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Be number one.
So what do you think? What do you see for the evolution of Jordan's Corner as a whole? Like, I mean, do you want to go to other cities, other places?
Yeah, I have so many plans. I mean, I go on and on. That's like what I talk about all the time. I would like to see Jordan's Corner definitely grow in the Scottsdale community. I feel like we've built such a strong community in Scottsdale. I'd love to see it continue to grow here first.
Yeah, totally.
Because we have the demand.
Mm-hmm.
So like, but then I'm like, what, some of my top choices I would say probably would be either like Gainey Ranch area or we've talked about like where Whole Foods is at.
Sure. Which Whole Foods, like Mayo, Scottsdale?
Yeah, like I'd like to go over there or I like to stay in the Scottsdale community, but I also get like, sometimes I'm like, well, there's, Gilbert would be fun.
Yeah, totally.
I don't see
Gilbert,
I mean, I'm kind of always paying attention. I don't really see anything like that in Gilbert.
Sure.
And sometimes Arcadia. We talk about Arcadia a lot. So
yeah,
I have like my top places that I would like to go. But as far as like different states too, we do talk about different states.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know when that will happen though. Mm-hmm. I always say maybe Seattle.
Yeah. Knock on wood, it'd be a good mix for sure, right?
Yeah. I'm like maybe Seattle area because it rains a lot. And they could probably use something like this. But I don't know. I mean, I get emails all the time about people asking about, will Jordan's Corner go to like San Jose? Or I came from this place and I want to know if you'd be willing to come out here.
Yeah. That's kind of cool though,
yeah,
right?
we do get asked that. But I think I would probably stick around here for a bit. Just because like we've really built something here.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And it feels like home.
Yeah, I love Scottsdale too. I see how much they value us and I love that.
Yeah.
So I could see us continuing to do well if we were to like just continue to grow in our Scottsdale community.
Sure. One thing you shared with me that was really cool is that like your staff is really well educated.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, tell us a little bit about that. I mean, because that's got to make such a huge difference, right? And I'm not picking on anybody, but rather than, an 18 or a 20-year-old kid that's just out of high school that's there for $15 an hour versus somebody that's really, truly educated in this.
Yep. And we do hire high schoolers,
sure.
but it's just they don't do our classes.
Yeah,
we don't let them do classes. So like Miss Sunshine, I talked about her earlier. She has a bachelor's degree in child development, has been a preschool teacher for 15 years. She also works for ASU as a coach, like a life coach type educator coach. And then we have Marina. She does our sensory classes. She's a trauma therapist with a master's in child development. And let's see, who else do we bring? So Miss Lexi, she's in school to be an ABA therapist. Mm-hmm. That is a therapist who works with kids that are on the spectrum of autism. And then, we have Miss Natalia. She is a homeschool educator. She actually owns multiple different types of homeschool programs.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And she does a nature class at her store. So she does, I call it store, but it's a playground enrichment center.
Yeah.
But so she does this nature class and she brings a lot of the things that you find just outside into the play space and we talk about different stuff.
Sure.
And then now we're actually talking about bringing in a woman who specializes in bunny therapy.
Yeah, you told me this.
Yeah,
this is great.
And like the kids would just like be able to like care for the bunnies and stuff. So pretty much anyone who's leading our classes is like top notch.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Oh, totally. 100%. That's great. So, again, I just come back to the idea, like when you first open the doors, because you're telling us like 5 days, here we go, right?
Yeah.
When you first open the doors, did you know what it was going to look like? I mean, did you have a picture in your mind? Like, I'm going to do, place sets over here. We're going to do little classes over here. I mean, how did that evolve?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that had to evolve in the earlier days because when you're doing a build out like this, especially for something like of our concept, they want to know where things go.
Yeah.
When you're submitting plans.
Sure. Yeah. Even a little picky about stuff like that. Yeah,
they're really
right?
picky.
Yeah.
So like I had to sketch out where I wanted things like for the architect. And so I kind of had an idea. Like we actually had all our equipment, I think almost a year out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We ordered it and it sat for a long time because the construction was so slow during COVID.
Yeah,
I mean, everything, brutal. We were hoping to open in September that year and we didn't open until April.
Wow.
And that was hard. But I had a plan. We also, what we did, I was always in the community. So 6 months before we opened, I was like hosting play dates at the park with the equipment.
Cool. Yeah.
I was like I had a play date at Earnhardt.
Yeah.
I asked him if we could like rent their area and I hosted people. So like when Jordan's Corner opened, like I feel like there was a huge,
Yeah.
I think before we opened, we had 4,000 followers.
That's fantastic.
I know. Yeah. So I really did my part on like growing it. I was like at every expo, every type of parent thing, like talking to them, like bringing this concept. And we didn't, and at that time we didn't have a building. So I actually had like posters printed out of like, this is the concept. This is my idea.
Conceptualization, right?
Like,
I love that.
We worked so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people often look at us and they're probably thinking it's easy. I'm like, no. I am tired.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, right?
I was like, it's a lot of work to grow a business like this. Yeah. Like, we're not even past the stage of door to door. We are humbled. We are like door to door at the park.
Right.
Hey, have you heard of Jordan's Corner? Hey, it's nice to meet you. Here's our card. Let's connect. Like
kissing babies and shaking hands, right?
Yeah. Totally. I mean, it's like work. I think people probably think my husband and I always joke around. I'm like, one parent one time asked me and she said, "Oh, you're the owner." I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, I thought you'd be like in Hawaii." And I was like, yeah, right. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Not yet, right?
Yeah.
Not yet.
And so we always joke, we always talk about that. I'm like, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So far from it.
Yeah. So as a small business owner, how do you stay in touch with your parents and how do you get new parents? I mean, is it mostly word of mouth or how do you approach all that?
Yeah, word of mouth. I have a marketing team.
Sure.
So they do a lot of work too, but word of mouth. And I'm like constantly, I guess word of mouth, really.
Yeah.
That was a lot of it. I was pretty like involved in the mommy community before we even opened.
Sure.
So like, I didn't really have like the best friends, but I was like in like multiple little mom groups. I was like in this therapy place, that therapy place. So when when I was getting ready to like bring this concept to life, I was like talking to these people that own these places.
Sure.
And I was loyal customers to them. I said, "Hey, I'm opening this place.
Yep.
I'm telling you about it. And like a lot of the people that my kids saw were like backing us up. Like, oh, I love that you're coming up with this idea. Let us know how we can help you. So actually, I feel like a lot of business owners helped my initial growth.
I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Like they were like, you supported my business and now you want to start yours. Like we're going to support you too.
Sure. Totally.
So that was like a huge help with the growth. I feel like I lost my train of thought. I don't know if that's
No. We're talking about how you get new clientele. And how you
So I
grow.
feel like the business owners, like I have a good relationship with a lot of the business owners.
Sure.
We all try to work together and respect each other. I mean, in business, like there are boundaries.
Yeah.
You got to be mindful of others. So like I have good relationships with everyone in my community. I'm constantly like trying to support my neighbors.
Sure.
Like I want people to go check out my neighbors.
Yep.
Like there's no competition with like the concepts we're doing. You know, like
totally.
We have like Modern Milk. They're amazing. They do lots of baby stuff there. My kids were basically like raised there.
Sure.
I was there every day when they were babies.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm constantly like, go to check out Modern Milk. We have musicology. They do music that's like specialized for different age groups. And it's amazing. And we love what they do. So we really try to work hard with all like our local neighbors too.
Yeah.
Because if they grow, we're growing,
So it's a little crazy to think, but this is a vision that came out of love for your kids, right?
Yeah.
And have something for them. But then all of a sudden, this is like a real thing. It's a real business, it's a real building, it's real stuff. So how do you balance that? Because I mean, you built it for a place for your kids to go, right? Mm-hmm. So now you have that, but you also have to run it. So I think that's it probably takes up a lot of your time. So how do you do that work-life balance and that whole thing?
Oh gosh, I feel like we're still learning that.
Yeah.
It's 2 years in. I will say I do carry a lot of the stress of it. My husband's extremely involved with our kids. Like we're both pretty hands-on too. Mm-hmm. I have employees. I have great staff members. I have great teachers that I can rely on. But I am really involved still. Yeah. I mean, yesterday I was like studying worms because today we were talking about worms. I spent my whole afternoon studying worms.
Got to be prepared, right?
Yeah,
you want to know about the
learning
worms.
About superworms, earthworms, what they're doing for the soil, their nicknames, whatever. I'm learning all this stuff.
Sure.
And I still have to be a mom, but it kind of pays off because I'm like, oh, okay, well, now I'm going to teach my kids about worms.
Yeah, totally.
And so then this morning I go and I set up the worm thing and then I'm doing the worm thing. Yeah. And then I'm here. And then after this, I might go home, work with my son on some like of the concepts that I've taught at the playground.
Sure.
And then it is very hard to balance.
Yeah.
And then when I have to work as a nurse, it's even harder to balance.
Yeah. A lot of hats you're wearing right now.
Oh, wait. I was thinking that. I was like, when I was prepping the worms this morning, I was like, dang, I'm doing a lot of different stuff this day.
Yeah, right.
I'm dropping Jordan off at school, running late. I am stressing about these worms.
Yeah.
Because there's 25 and I only see 5.
Right.
So where are they in this playground?
Where'd you guys go?
Where are they? And then like, I'm coming here.
Right.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like I do wear a lot of hats. And I mean, I'm trying to be better about that, but it's hard because it is my baby and I really do care about the quality and it takes time to get to that level. And I have high expectations for Jordan's Corner. So it is really hard. It's really hard to balance. I will say we do our best to like find times where we really focus on our kids. Like our son's in a nature group with Miss Natalia. So she does classes at our store, but she also has like her own nature groups that she meets.
Cool.
Like, it's really cool. So
you take them actually out in nature to do stuff? That's so cool.
Nash is in her group on Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. And we go to Papago Park every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we study dead fish. We study clams. We fish.
Right.
We study the rocks, the birds, whatever. So like that day, I'm very strict about, you guys all need to figure it out.
Yeah.
You're fully staffed.
I'm out. Yeah, totally.
I had to focus on Nash today. And so we have like days like that. And I guess being an entrepreneur, you kind of make your schedule. So there's weeks where I'm like, okay, we can have an event these next few days because like Jordan has all this stuff going on and I need to be like really involved.
Sure. Totally.
So, and I'm like seriously the mom that's like trying to volunteer in the class too.
Yeah, you do a little bit of everything.
For March 1st. Like I do it to myself.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It is hard to balance. I know my friends will ask, they're like, how did you go to that nature group and then still manage to do this? Yeah. And I'm like, I guess I don't sleep.
Yeah, no. Right?
I guess I don't know. I guess I'm not sleeping anymore.
Oh, wow.
It is hard to balance.
So what was your biggest hurdle? I mean, so you go into this endeavor pretty quick. What was the biggest hurdle you had to overcome to get it rolling?
Oh, gosh. I would say I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs can really relate to this. Financing it and the lack of support.
Sure.
Wow. It is crazy how many people will turn on you when they think you're crazy.
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, people think entrepreneurs are crazy. And it's like, I felt that.
Yeah.
It was so, thank gosh my husband was on my side. He's like, I wonder if I would have followed through because it was super isolating. I mean, everyone thought I was like insane.
Yeah. What are you doing?
What am I doing? Yeah. I'm ruining our life.
Right.
Like, that's hard. I had a 6-month-old baby, so I'm still pretty postpartum.
Sure.
I'm trying to build this business and everyone's telling me I'm crazy and this is silly. And why would I do something like this? Like, we are fine. My husband was working his job. I was working through as a nurse, and then I was on like maternity leave at that time. So I was on maternity leave, and then I was talking about not going back.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, why? You're home. You guys can afford nanny help.
Right.
We're debt free.
Sure.
And so that's hard. That was really hard to get past all the negativity. I would tell, I always often would say, I have to turn the noise off.
Yeah.
Right. And just
100%.
focus on the plan. So it was funny. Like when I did the traveling and stuff, we actually kept it a huge secret.
Yeah.
We only told like our really close friends because we have a lot of friends that are entrepreneurs.
Sure.
So that was kind of nice. So I kind of told like my really close friends, and then like no one knew.
Yeah.
Like
so tell a little bit, like you went on the road as a FEMA nurse to help fund Jordan's Corner.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's expensive to start a business like this.
Yeah, right.
We had some savings. I went through that pretty quickly. And then as I saw it, disappearing, my husband works, but like it just wasn't enough. And I was like, hey, like I need more money. Like, what are we going to do? Like, I already signed this lease. Like, there's no backing out now.
Here we go.
Like, we're here. And he was like, all right, well, I mean, you can go back to work, like PRN. And the nursing role, it's very flexible. So you can do 3 days, 4 days, whatever. And so I was doing PRN, which is like as needed. You're not on like a set schedule. So I was doing PRN shifts, but I was doing like 4 a week. And I was like, this is good money, but probably still not enough. And I'm like, my friends at the time, we're all kind of doing different things because it was the COVID era.
Yeah.
I also didn't work COVID because you have to remember, like, okay, so I was at Honor Health Shea.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy, actually. I'm going to like go back a few steps here.
Sure.
I was at Honor Health Shea. And at that time, I was like, Nash was pretty young. And I was saying like, oh, I'm feeling very isolated. Like, I'm feeling sad. Like, I just want to be home with my baby.
Sure.
And so I was like, I'm going to leave. And I like within a week, COVID started happening. And I was like, this is so weird. And I remember working like the last shift and everyone was like terrified. And I'm like, well, I'm out anyways. So, so like, bye guys. And so like, I was done. I was home with Nash for like 2 weeks.
Right.
And then I got approached with like a really cool nursing job for a really big client who wanted me to be like private nurse for like his facilities. So I actually had that really cool nursing job for my whole okay, maybe it was Jordan. I'm like getting mixed up, like my kids. Because I'm thinking like, no, I was pregnant actually. So maybe it was Jordan that I wanted to be home with. And then I like did this really cool nursing job for this client. Like it was awesome. It was like the easiest, coolest nursing job I ever had. So I did that. And then I was pregnant with Nash. So then I like went through my whole pregnancy doing this job for him. And then by the time it kind of all worked out, like he didn't need me anymore once Nash was like born, and that worked out. So then I said, oh, you know what? I saved all this money. We're debt free. I'm going to just stay home with Nash. And then I was home, and then I must have got bored because I started this project.
Right.
So then I was home, and then that's when Jordan's Corner was happening. Right. Sure. So then Jordan's Corner is happening. Don't have enough money. Okay. Then the FEMA nurse starts happening. Right. So I started saying, okay, like maybe I should travel nurse, I guess. Right. All my friends are doing it. I mean, that's what everyone's doing for money right now. It must be where it's at. So my friend was like, I'm going to be going to Illinois with FEMA. You should try to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the job. And it's very crazy the way FEMA works. Like you have to just be ready to go. So they notify you and you have to be there the next day.
Wow.
Not like 3 days.
The next day?
The next day.
Wow, that's
crazy.
And
if you can't be there, you just kind of like let them know, but they want you there by midnight.
Yeah.
If there's a delay on the flight, they're kind of like cool about it.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I had to get everything all ready, double check all my nursing stuff, book a flight.
Right.
And be there the next day before 6 p.m.
Sure.
And so that was Illinois. And this was hilarious. I thought I was going to be like in Chicago, and I got sent to a small town.
Wow.
Oglesby, Illinois, population. I actually checked it yesterday because I was just curious because I was talking about it again. I thought it was 4,000, but the population is actually 3,700.
Oh, wow.
So
that's
even
crazy.
smaller.
Yeah.
I got sent there.
So how long were you there for?
How long was I there for? That one was 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So that one was 4 weeks. That one was probably like my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I made a lot of friends. We had to live in a hotel.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in college again or something.
Totally,
it was like
the dorm
hilarious.
Rooms, huh? Yeah.
I kept telling my husband, I'm like, geez, I feel like I'm like a college student. This is hilarious. I mean, but it was like with college student with adults. So there wasn't like drama.
Right.
Everyone's just there to like feed their family. So it's kind of cool. That one was really fun because I actually got to go visit Arthur, Illinois, which is like where the Amish live. It was so cool.
Neat. I love that.
Yeah. And so it was fun. Like I got to do a lot of cool things while being a nurse there. And then after that, I forgot what other town they sent me to in Illinois, but I was only there for like 2 weeks. And it was just fascinating. Like some of these small towns, like how they're not used to, they didn't know much about they didn't know much about critical care.
Oh,
so I was like the most experienced nurse, which was like crazy to me because I've never been like the most experienced because I've always worked for really big hospitals.
Right.
Like I've worked for Honor Health Shea, I've worked for Dignity, Hollywood, Kaiser. Right. So like to be the most qualified nurse in this hospital was crazy. So I was there, like I think like 2 weeks. Sure. And then after that one, I got sent to Texas and I was there the longest.
Okay.
I was in Houston for a long time. And that one was like hard work.
Right. They put you to it, huh?
That one was like, I paid my dues.
Yeah. So you literally, that's great. You literally went on the road to bring Jordan's Corner to life. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I had to. Every check that I got every Friday just went straight to Jordan's Corner.
Sure.
Straight to Jordan's Corner.
Yeah. So tell us, how do people find you? How do they find out about you? Where can they get more information?
Okay. So you can we're located off Frank Lloyd Wright in the 101 freeway. We're in Sonora Village. We're next to all the really cool spots like Oso, Ray's, Handles. And that's the same parking lot that Staples and Walmart are into. And our website is jordanscorneraz.com. And we have events pretty much every week. So like weekends, our hours vary. So we ask that you check in with us. But during the week, come anytime, 9 to 6.
9 to 6 every day. And then weekends sometimes. But
weekends sometimes. Just check the website.
Okay.
Yeah, we're open tomorrow.
Love it.
Yeah.
So that's Janell with Jordan's Corner. Just really cool. Check it out. I mean, it's such a cool, unique idea. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks.
So happy for you. 2 years in and you're killing it.
I know. It's been a lot of work, but it's definitely, like you said, like a labor of love. I just love it. It's just so fun.
Cool.
Like I get to go to work and play with worms.
I love it. Yeah. Worms, kids, the whole deal. And other moms,
awesome.
right?
Yeah. And I get to like just meet so many cool parents. Yeah.
Wonderful.
We're all like in this together. So
good deal. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.
And check out Jordan's Corner. Really, really cool idea.